Why did you choose mental wellness as your domain, as your area where you want to build some products over there?
Ultimately, we're building a product for the end users. And those consumers are people like you and me. So what would we want? How would we want to be treated or addressed? You don't need a large company to deliver what you are dreaming of.
I was going through some articles. They showcased 30% of the women are into careers, which is a very less percentage.
Right.
In that 31%, only 13% of the women are getting into CX11. Being a women entrepreneur, what could be the exact reason that the number is so less?
People need emotional connect. People still need to have an ability to, the intelligence that is embodied as. So if you have an AI bot, great, it might help you do a conversation, but it doesn't have an intelligence of its own. I think it's been said in so many different ways already. Somebody who AI is not going to replace, but somebody who doesn't know how to use AI will get replaced. Right?
Yeah.
And that applies for everyone. That applies for you, that applies for me, that applies for a psychologist, psychiatrist. It applies for everybody.
Building your own startup, working on your own passion towards it. From your perspective, is it a cakewalk?
Oh, no, not at all. I hear a lot of mentors talk about pivoting and all of that, but I guess we probably pivot once in a day at least.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it is not a cakewalk at all.
We see in the organizations fell apart because there is a conflict between co-founders and all.
So genuinely.
Hey, welcome to MetaFolks Chat Show. This is SriLakshmi here. We have an exciting guest today. Sirisha Peyyeti, who holds 25 plus years of experience in the technology space, 5 years of experience as an entrepreneur, who has built a profitable business, had an exit, and started an organization now, co-founded an organization now, which is into AI product development in the area of mental wellness. She has spoken a lot about women entrepreneurship, challenges, opportunities. We spoke about networking skills. We spoke about the opportunities that we get, how to pitch in, how to collaborate, how to be present in the networking events, what is the difference when you're an employer and an employee. We spoke about a lot of things which are useful for the corporate community and every individual who's planning to get into business entrepreneurship. I think this will be an insightful conversation. You should definitely watch it. Hi Sirisha, how are you doing?
Thank you. I'm all good, and it is a pleasure being here today.
Thanks, that's our pleasure too. Last time when we were having conversation, I'm really fascinated with the concept of this AI space and mental wellness. You have blended both together. You're building a product for the mental wellness.
Right.
Okay. When we are actually talking about mental wellness, these days there's a lot of buzzing about mental wellness. When you compare to back in maybe a decade back, there was not much talk about mental wellness.
True.
Okay. So people have been creating products on multiple platforms using AI to build solutions in different areas. Even in healthcare, AI is there. Why did you choose mental wellness as your domain, as your area where you want to build some products over there?
Sure. See, the honest answer is I don't have a personal backstory.
Okay.
It is always nice to, build a product from your personal experiences, I guess. But thankfully, touch wood, there is no serious mental issues that were there that prompted me to move in this direction. But if you think about it, exactly like you said, people are a lot more aware about mental health issues these days. People are a little more open about seeking help. And when anything needs to scale, technology needs to be an underlying factor there. So technology absolutely has to be an enabler for anything to scale. And I was always fascinated about brain as an organ, and how there is so much more that we don't know about what's happening in people's minds. Not that I want to be a mind reader, but it's just a fascinating space. And when you know that there is demand, and when you know that you have the technical skill, why not pair both of them together was a simple idea. So we wanted to create something that has an impact and leverage technology so that it can create impact at scale. So that's how I ended up doing both of them together, I guess.
Okay. With 25 plus years of experience into technology space, you might have built multiple applications, multiple platforms. Now, getting into this domain, I think you wouldn't have worked in mental wellness as a domain so far.
Right.
Now, when somebody has to step into such kind of a subject, which is completely a new subject, do you have to gain that subject knowledge before getting into the application development? Because technology is your space.
Right.
But the domain space, the problem that you would like to address, that's not your space.
Correct.
So, what have you done to get the expertise in that area?
Sure. That's a very interesting question, actually. Before I started Avika, I was a consultant in the technology space. So we always, sold the philosophy that an outside-in perspective is always good. It brings newer ideas, newer ways of looking at problems and things like that. So that's exactly what I tried implementing here as well. But that is not a replacement for actual skill in that area of interest, which is mental health. So thankfully for us, we have a co-founder who's a psychiatrist, who's a practicing psychiatrist for the last 20 odd years. We have the whole ecosystem that he operates out of that is helping us validate anything that we're building. And of course, we have hired proper qualified psychologists to help us build what we're building. But the value addition that we bring is, ultimately we're building a product for the end users, the end consumers. And those consumers are people like you and me. So what would we want? How would we want to be treated or addressed when I were to go to a psychologist, say tomorrow, for some sort of an assistance? How would I like myself to be treated is a perspective that I can give, not a psychologist. Right? So we try and blend that. We try and understand what the problems are. And the outside-in perspective absolutely helps. We can reimagine the whole thing in a completely new manner. And that is why we've actually ended up building a virtual reality solution as well. But yeah, so having that experience of, looking at the problem well enough and long enough to be able to try and solve it using technology and have actual experts in the domain as a part of your team is a killer combination, is what I believe. Yeah.
When you said you have been associated with the practicing psychiatrists and psychologists have been associated to build this product. Now, when you actually look at the common thing that's happening is people have been using LLMs as therapists.
Right. True.
Okay. So, these LLMs were not built using the specialists.
True.
Okay. They are built on algorithms and multiple things.
Right.
Now, if people have been assuming that even your product is similar to an LLM, I think they'll be taken wrong.
Right. Yeah? Absolutely. So
how is it?
So we tried, staying away from the rote AI hype that is there right now.
Okay.
Not that it is wrong. The technology is fascinating. It is fabulous. It has achieved what it couldn't probably achieve in a very, very long time. But you absolutely need a valid use case to be able to use that technology, right? We can't use the tech as a bright, shiny object and not have value created out of it. So the model that we follow is fairly straightforward. We use a phygital sort of an approach. People need emotional connect. People still need to have an ability to, the intelligence that is embodied, as my co-founder told me the other day. So if you have an AI bot, great, it might help you do a conversation, but it doesn't have an intelligence of its own, right? It is basically intelligence that is perceived or derived based on data that it has looked at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So having an ability to, have a conversation with a bot, but hand it over seamlessly to an actual expert when there is a need, and have those appropriate guardrails in whatever we're building. So even in the product that we built, for example, the control is always with the therapist. If you're doing a proper treatment for an evidence-based treatment for, say, a condition like any phobia, you wouldn't want the patient or the client self-medicating them for any physical condition, right? Why would we want to do it for mental conditions? So the product that we built has human guardrails, as in the therapist uses it as a tool. so that the therapy that gets done in that 45 minutes or 1 hour duration becomes a lot more effective for them. And for the client, it becomes a lot more engaging as well. So any technology that we build, at least that's the core philosophy or fundamental policy, if you will, that we try and follow. Any technology that you build, use it judiciously. We do a lot of content creation. Majority of our content translations and audio is AI generated, because there is no harm in doing something like that, right? There is a lot of work we do in terms of creating personalized worksheets for clients and all of that, which is AI generated. Because it needs to be. You can't expect a therapist to, sit and create personalized care plans for everybody. It doesn't scale like that.
Okay.
So wherever you need technology to help scale, wherever it is relevant, absolutely leverage it. But wherever there is a need for human connect, wherever there is a need for, a social fabric that needs to be brought into a conversation, we would ideally prefer having a expert there, whether it is online and again tech enabled, or if it is offline where people are sitting right in front of each other. There's a lot more that you can do in terms of understanding the body language, in terms of understanding what the person is feeling and not saying, and things like that. We try and do a physical session, and that is what a lot of our clients actually prefer to. We've had scenarios where people have said, we have an online option available, but then they insisted that they want to come in person. So each to their own, right? So you just have to build a business that caters to multiple segments that you're serving. And that's what we're hoping we will do, where we use technology where it is appropriate. We use humans absolutely as a part of the ecosystem.
Okay, nice. So, of course, now the technology is not replacing humans, but it's supporting the human.
Absolutely.
It's supporting the specialists.
Correct.
To treat better. That's what you said.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's been said in so many different ways already. Somebody who AI is not going to replace, but somebody who doesn't know how to use AI will get replaced. Right?
Yeah.
And that applies for everyone. That applies for you, that applies for me, that applies for a psychologist, psychiatrist. It applies for everybody.
Yeah.
So yes, it is absolutely an enabler right now. But yeah, it is not like replacing humans, at least not yet. Never say no, never say never. It might happen at some point in time. But yeah, there's, I'm sure, a lot of research that's going on as we speak. But applied AI so far hasn't gone there yet. At least that's my opinion.
Okay. So, since you've been working in the technology space since last more than 2 decades, how different it is to be working in an organization as an employee and delivering projects, and to be a co-founder and delivering things,
Right.
delivering products, and
Yeah.
all that. How is it?
Yeah. Maybe a slightly unpopular opinion. A lot of this depends on an individual. So whether I was working in a company in the initial days of my career for a very long time, or now when I run a company of my own, I was always, how do I call it, responsible and, looking at delivering more than I could, always. So that's a personal trait in that sense. But yeah, the biggest difference, of course, is, yes, you don't have to be worried about a lot of other things if you're an employee, because there's a huge ecosystem that is taking care of that for you. Especially in a startup, and if you're a co-founder, there is everything that you need to look at, right? Just yesterday I was looking at, some digital marketing, some GTM tags that are not firing and stuff like that, which I had no idea about. Or something else that's happening with a customer that we've sold a VR platform to. So as a co-founder, you basically have many responsibilities. But the interesting aspect of it is all of them are not very, sexy. So they're not high tech, high end.
Okay.
They're very, very fundamental day-to-day activities also that kind of land on your lap, and that's what you'll have to deal with. Though the biggest difference that I have seen is the loneliness. Yeah. If you are in a corporate, you're an employee, you have 5 people to go out for a chai break, 10 people that you go together for lunch. You have weekend, if it's a production deployment, you have a weekend get together or at office, or you're all remotely working. If you are a founder in a startup, it's actually a very lonely journey for a very long time.
It is. I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to an organization where we are working as an employee, it's not that you're solely responsible of something.
Right.
You have a team to work.
Correct.
But when you're a founder, when you have to make strategic decisions, when you have to be in multiple factors, it's
Right.
like sometimes the journey is lonely.
Yeah, very lonely. So these days when I go to corporate outreach events, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the life that I used to live a while back. Good. I just get reminded of that once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one feels better?
This one for sure. What I'm doing right now, because it's so there's a subtle difference between happiness and contentment, right? You're happy in the moment. You're content when you're looking at it from a time horizon point of view. So that's I guess answers for itself. This one sounds better. Yeah.
Okay. So when we are talking about building your own startup, okay, and working on your own passion towards it, from your perspective, is it a cakewalk?
Oh, no, not at all. No, this is the second startup that I've done. The first one, honestly, was probably relatively simpler because that was an area that I knew. I was an IT person all along. So the previous startup was in the IT services space. So it felt normal, natural. It was just a natural extension. Being an entrepreneur felt like a natural extension. This one is absolutely out of my comfort zone. I haven't done anything in mental health 2 years back. So now people reach out to me for psychological issues, and that scares me once in a while. But yeah, so it's not a cakewalk at all. And the fact that the previous startup was fairly successful also kind of has that you have that roadmap in your head, right? Mm-hmm. You're basically thinking this is what will happen. 3 months we will do this, 6 months we'll do that, 1 year we do something else, etc., etc. So all the best laid plans kind of go for a toss, and you have to reinvent pretty much every other day. I hear a lot of mentors talk about pivoting and all of that, but I guess we probably pivot once in a day at least.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it is not a cakewalk at all. There are definitely days when you feel like, oh, am I just torturing myself? Is this all worth it at all? But then there are good days in between that make it all worth it, I guess. But yeah. Yeah, we plan and God disposes is what happens essentially.
Okay. As a founder of a company and an entrepreneur too, you said that there are days where you have low. Okay.
Yeah.
And then because whatever the decision that you make on the day is gonna impact at a longer run whenever you're low.
Right.
What do you do on those low days?
Couple of things, and this is just a genuine representation of what we do, right? I have co-founders, so there are days when I actually say, you know what, I'm not doing anything today. I'm not taking decisions today. We will just let it go. If there's anything important, you take over for today, right? Which is why I try and tell people it's important to have good co-founders, because you don't want to make decisions in your lowest of lows and regret it the next day. Yes, you have to actually acknowledge the fact. I think that's the bigger deal. You have to pull each other up. It is absolutely true that persistence and consistency kind of outruns everything else. So you have to ride them through. In whatever manner. There are simple things that you can do to kind of make one step at a time. Take one step at a time. You might not get to your, target, so to speak. You would have wanted to do something on a particular day. By then something would have happened or should have happened for this to move forward. Won't happen. Doesn't mean it won't happen tomorrow, right? You have to have that faith. I think hope, persistence, and people to fall back on, and maybe a lot of binge watching on Netflix helps too sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, you just have to stick it through. That's all.
Okay. Your previous organization had co-founders, or were you the only founder?
We all previous one also had co-founders.
Okay.
yeah, this one also has co-founders.
So you never had an experience of being a single founder?
Solopreneur. No.
Solopreneur.
No.
How does it feel to have co-founders?
It's fun, genuinely, because I guess nobody else will understand what you're thinking, why you're doing what you're doing. Not your friends, not your family, nobody else will understand that more than a co-founder, right? So it absolutely makes sense to kind of work with, whether it is. So there is a lot of stress that is laid on the fact that co-founders have to be like-minded and things like that. I don't think that is absolutely necessary at all. You just have to have different perspectives. More than anything else, I think you have to have faith in each other, right? So you shouldn't be second-guessing somebody. You shouldn't be, pulling someone back. Everybody doesn't have to pull all their weight every single day. But if somebody is actually moving forward, you shouldn't second guess them and pull them back. As long as you have that sort of a understanding, and as long as you have different opinions, and if you come from different backgrounds, even more better, because that gives too many variations and perspectives in terms of thinking, right?
Correct.
But yeah, fundamentally, the foundational aspects have to be common. You have to believe in some pipe dream.
Purpose has to be same.
Yeah. You have to be, if you're doing something in mental health space, for example, you have to have the patience. You have to be empathetic. If you're doing something that basically, feels like it is a roller coaster, you have to have that sort of a mental makeup to kind of take it as it comes. So the fundamentals have to be common. There is no doubt about it. But yeah, your way of life, your view to life, your approach to decision making can be very, very different, and yet you can reach the same goal. Absolutely possible. But you absolutely need to have co-founders. I can't advise more than that. Yeah,
because we see in the organizations, a lot of organizations fell apart because there is a conflict between co-founders and all that.
Yeah.
So that was my point of view, talking
True.
about the co-founders.
Yeah.
In your previous organization, when you said you had an exit,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So when somebody has to get into an organization and have a plan for next 2 years, 3 years, we need to build that and have an exit. What kind of lessons you can tell that it has to be a profitable exit?
Oh, okay. So genuinely, the previous startup that we did, I don't think we had a very set in stone sort of a plan that said 2 years we'll do this, 5 years we'll do this. We did not have it.
Having such kind of plan is bad?
Not necessarily. As long as you know that it is a plan on Excel sheet and it can vary, you should be open to that.
It's always editable.
Yeah, it's always editable because plans are plans, right?
Yeah.
So when we ran that company, we ran it fairly well. In fact, we had a first deal even before the company was properly incorporated, or for that matter, even before I joined full time as a part of the company. We had some orders that we had to fulfill. So it was a great association for whatever number of years that we ran. It always is fulfilling when you have employees and people kind of work for you, and not in the sense of I'm a owner and you're working for me, but you kind of assume that your dream has translated to a lot more people, right? You've started off with certain ideas, and now there are people that actually believe in it and work with you. So that was a very fascinating stage. But then COVID happened, and a lot of people had to, work from different places. We were a very small company at that point in time, but we were doing very good work, and the exit was in a lot of ways unplanned. Somebody did approach us and said, "You're doing a good job. We are looking at, adding this as a portfolio to our existing repository that we have. Would you be interested?" We had a conversation. The conversation made sense. We were making decent money in that whole deal, and we weren't sure about how we will be able to get back to where we were before COVID. So we weren't too sure about that. And we said, why not take this opportunity? As long as we're doing well, as long as the employees benefit from it, we said we will take that opportunity. But to answer your question, how do we make a company profitable if it is in the services space, which is what it was earlier? We were very clear from day one that we wanted it to be self-sustaining. Whatever money that we needed was more from a cash flow point of view than anything else. So it was very evident that you had to believe and build and deliver projects. Of course, quality can't be compromised. But other than that, you have to have a niche. So we went after small, medium businesses and we said, technology is democratized right now. You don't need a large company to deliver what you are dreaming of. We are your, for the lack of a better word, Accenture for your size companies. Why don't you do it?
I mean, to relate to that, even I keep saying that like MetaFolks technology is also same.
Yeah.
Because it's on the plug and play model.
Right. So you have to find that niche. You have to be able to communicate that well to your potential customers, so to speak. And you should be able to deliver on the promises. So we were a bunch of people that were very, very, very hardworking. I don't think it would have worked otherwise. Just sheer hard work. And a blind belief in a fact that we're doing something that is worth buying from. If you don't have that belief, you can't sell well. Correct. If you can't sell well, you can't sustain. So for a profitable business, I guess absolutely having a plan helps because you know what you're getting into. You can't go blindsided because there are people depending on you. You're employing people. You're basically telling people that you'll deliver something to them in a certain stipulated time, etc. So you have to have plans. You have to abide by the plans as much as you can. But you have to have the leeway to kind of change it. But more importantly, work very, very hard and believe that you can deliver whatever you've promised. Yeah.
Being a founder of a company or an entrepreneur, what is your biggest fear?
Oh, complacency. So I am, in fact, now that I do something in the mental health space, if I actually get diagnosed, I might get a label too. But I am constantly worried about the fact that we are not doing enough, or we are not doing enough fast enough. Which is probably not a great trait to have, but that is my fear. It is my genuine fear that there's so many ideas that I have, that we have as a company. We just don't have the time to experiment all of that.
I think, it's everyone's use case.
Oh, yeah. So for us, or for me personally, I'm afraid of not being able to deliver on what I dreamt of, right? Which is also true to a lot of founders, right?
Yeah,
so everybody has a dream, and you want to obviously build on it. And not being competitive enough, not being competitive in a positive way, not in the sense of cutthroat competition, but competitive with yourself, complacency. That's okay. If we slack today, it doesn't matter. If you don't, get this done, it's okay. We'll find something else. So that sort of a complacency in terms of executing on the ideas that we have, that's the biggest fear that I have. Yeah.
Okay. What we see is, I was going through some articles where they showcased 30+% of the women are into their jobs, careers.
Okay.
Which is a very less percentage.
Right.
In that 31%, only 13% of the women are getting into CXO level, being founders or CXO levels at the established organizations.
Right.
So now, being a women entrepreneur, do you actually see some kind of challenge from your perspective that this number can be changed in near future? Or what could be the exact reason that the number is so less from your perspective?
Sure. So for a very long time, I did not think of it at all, because when I was so-called building my own career, I did not, think of, why aren't there enough women here or whatever, right? It was evident. I mean, you walk into a room, you see lesser women, you see more men. It is evident.
I
but
think eventually we got used to
yeah,
it.
yeah. We just got used to it. And we were so focused on what we wanted to build for ourselves. That's the few women that are left in the room that actually have a good idea probably in their heads of what they want to be, where they want to be. So it did not bother me, which is something that I realized recently that is a wrong thing to do. To your point, do I see the number increasing? Yes. Because it's history, right? As in the past data, if it is of any indication, we probably got to 30% from some very low percentages already. So when I started my career, I think in the company that I first joined, there were way less women. By the time I exited that company, there were a lot more women. So that number absolutely is increasing, is on the rise. But what did we not do earlier, and what can we do right now? Is possibly acknowledging that fact, and helping. By helping, I don't mean you'll have to pull up other women. That's not what I mean. But at least the fact that you don't even acknowledge it, and you don't seem that it is a misfit, that there aren't enough women leaders out there, needs to stop. That much I can say. What can we do to encourage other women is up to individuals, up to their organizations that they work in. But there's a lot of ecosystem help that is coming up as well. We were just talking about VHub, right? And that's something that I've been associated with for the past year and a half. And I find it extremely enriching and rewarding. The fact that there are so many women out there that are trying to make a mark for themselves in the entrepreneurial world, where the funding for women is still very, 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 very less when compared to men. There are opportunities that exist right now. I think the biggest thing that we will have to do as women or as entrepreneurs or corporates or ecosystem players, whoever it is, right, to kind of put the word out there saying there are opportunities for women. You want to pick them up, please do. Please come forward. That's all that needs to be done. Because that fire always existed. The opportunities were limited. Now there are enough opportunities. I think the messaging needs to be a lot more louder and clearer. And if in any manner we can contribute towards it, we should do it. We should not shy away from saying, yeah, if there is worth in them, they will automatically come up. It is just a, skill thing. It's just the urge in them to become a successful entrepreneur. Gender has nothing to do with it. No, gender has a lot of thing to do with it. Because there's a lot of self-censorship that women have. I'm not saying just because we're juggling family and profession and all of that. I think it's just the way we are conditioned. A lot of women are not very vocal. A lot of women are not very vocal in terms of what they want, their asks, their needs in an entrepreneurial journey or in a corporate world. So yeah, there is a need for women to kind of step up, stop doing self-censorship. And from an ecosystem point of view, there is enough and more need for people to shout off the rooftop saying, these are the benefits that exist, please avail them. And hopefully the number will change, and the number will change significantly and faster. That's basically what can be done. But otherwise, the perception has changed slightly in the market. There are enough women leaders and entrepreneurs that we can look up to these days when compared to what it was earlier. Or otherwise also the generational shift that has happened. I don't think people are going to stay back or take a step back just because of gender. But the gap still needs to be bridged, and whatever help that we can do and the ecosystem can do should be done and should be taken up.
Very nicely portrayed. When you're talking about the community that has been built. Now, when I read some news here that in recent times, only 3% of the women entrepreneurs who were present at a funding event were funded. Only 3% of the women. Of course, men were like close to 10%. So now, when we actually compare sit, because we have been seeing a lot of employees there, a lot of working women there who are super skilled.
Right.
They are capable of delivering things extremely well.
Right.
Sometimes more
Better.
productive than men.
Yeah.
I'm not being a feminist here, but
No. Yeah.
it's a fact.
Right.
More productive. But still, why is that less in number? 3%.
Mm-hmm.
My doubt is all about, aren't we more vocal about what we want? Or is that the other person's perspective that they cannot do anything? That's the reason we don't want to invest in their dreams or passions. What could that be in your experience? Have you encountered any such situations, or you've seen something?
Yeah, it's basically a bit of both. We don't believe in what we dream. Then nobody outside is going to believe in what we dream. So we don't. We are not unabashed about what we want. And this is, again, there is always an exception to the rule. There are enough women founders that I've seen that are very vocal about what they want. They're very clear, brilliant at pitching their ideas. They're a riot when they go for a networking event. I've seen that side of the world as well. But majority of the women, they're uncertain. They're not too sure. And like I said, there is so much of self-censorship. We are not too very comfortable. I'm not saying we should blatantly lie, but we don't talk about our dreams in a manner that we want. What you're seeing in your mind, you don't say it aloud most of the time.
Something stops.
Yeah, there is a filter that comes in between. What if that doesn't work? So we are basically thinking about, if you want to get to C, you're talking about, oh, that is where I want my startup to be in 5 years down the lane or 3 years down the lane. You can say it the way it is, but you're thinking about, what if I don't go from A to B and then from B to C becomes difficult? So maybe I won't end up at C. I will talk about B right now because that is more real. Right? So we don't paint that picture well enough. And again, when I was doing all these incubation centers, pitching competitions and all of that, that's what I realized. We are not unabashed about what our dreams are, and we don't say it loud enough. That is definitely there. The other thing also exists, wherein there is an assumption that, women co-founders are good, but who's the CFO? Who's the CTO? Oh, are you a tech women entrepreneur? Oh, is that's new. That is still, if you're a women entrepreneur, you're assumed to be in marketing, or maybe you're assumed to be in the operations side. You're not assumed to be in the tech side, or you're not assumed that, people don't assume that you have enough understanding about your, financials, which is true also to some extent.
Yeah,
we kind of shy away from it. There's no doubt about it. I am guilty of that too.
Yeah.
But we have to make it a point to learn, understand, and reiterate what we're saying. That will build the confidence in the ecosystem as well. But otherwise, today, people don't, I think, believe enough in women from a sustenance point of view. I don't think anybody is doubting their capability in execution. The only thing that they doubt is, is this startup that is led by a woman founder going to exist 5 years from now? Wouldn't that women founder not give this priority and prioritize something else? The sustenance and an ability to scale via a women founder is probably a bit of a gray area for a lot of investors still. Which is why, again, you have a team, which is why, again, you show what your vision is. And again, it's all eventually about communication and showing that you have it in control. You fake it till you make it.
Rightly said.
Yeah.
So, that's what. Being consistent and being vocal about your dreams, and then making a point that, yes, you will deal with it and you can make it, you can scale that business.
Right.
You need to be vocal about it.
Correct.
Definitely.
Correct.
Because for everyone, it's easy. I mean, I don't say it's easy cakewalk, because entrepreneur journey itself is a difficult thing. But for females, it's kind of difficult because you need to explicitly communicate and say that,
Right.
yes,
Right. Yeah.
it's gonna scale up.
Correct. Correct.
Trust the factor that we need to sell.
Absolutely. There's so many more things. You are not probably making any compromises in your lifestyle if you're a female entrepreneur, because you know what, maybe the husband is earning. This is just a fancy idea that you wanted to experiment. You're trying it out. Worst case, if it doesn't work out, you'll go back to whatever you were doing. It won't make a dent in what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
There were scenarios where people talk about, anyway, if you're not the whole and soul bread earner of the family,
Right.
so investing in a men's company is better because he is the whole and soul bread earner.
Yeah.
You'll anyway have, you can be dependent. You can be dependent.
Yeah. So that also goes to talk about consistency, right? If something doesn't work out in about a year and a half, you will not persist well enough and, make it a success, because you will fold easily. Why take the trouble? That's the
perception
attitude
of people.
Yeah.
But our mindset is different. We need to be consistent on it. And then
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think we just have to communicate it better.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't see too many single breadwinner families anymore in our world today.
Anymore. That's what. Yeah. It's all the traditional way of thinking.
Yeah.
That people
so
have to come
what
out.
we do is what we do. What we run is what we run.
Yes.
If it is a successful venture, which is what all of us set out to do, it is obviously going to help the family overall, right? It is not for...
It's not individual. It's not individual.
Yeah. We have to believe and really clearly communicate that what we're doing as an entrepreneurial journey is not a hobby.
Absolutely.
It is not a hobby. It is not a passion. It is not a not-for-profit organization. It is not charity. We are in this because we want to make money out of it. It is an actual business idea. And we should be able to sell that and tell that clearly, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about the commercials and financials also clearly and being vocal about it.
Right.
So during your journey, it's how many years of entrepreneurial journey that you have?
About 5-6 years right now, if you include the previous company.
Company also 5 to 6 years of journey. What are the new things that you started learning? We were discussing now about the finances, right? So being an entrepreneur, we need to keep learning new things every day.
Right.
As an employee, of course, you learn the tools required, you need the skills required, that's fine. But we need to learn very different things.
Right.
Which we haven't done earlier.
Yeah.
So what kind of skills that you picked up in last 5 years?
Very interesting. The most recent one, I think I can't say I picked up, but I honed on, is probably humility. Because I always thought, see, you make progress in your career, right? You start off wherever you start off, you make some progress. You have a team, you have a lot of people working for you, you end up winning some great deals, big closures, whatever. And then suddenly a 1 lakh deal that you do a week back becomes a lot more important than, I don't know, millions of dollars of deals that you've closed about few years back. So humility is something that I've learned in the recent past. So what you've accomplished in the past actually doesn't matter so much at all. Yes, there are learnings, there are experiences, there's people that you've met in that journey that you can bring along. But successes, failures, you have to experience them all over again as if it's a brand new day for the first time. So that's something that I learned. The other thing that I learned is, small wins. So there's a philosophy, the Japanese philosophy. So essentially you have to start celebrating small wins, which is not something that we are used to. Generally as a generation, we've been, again, conditioned to, take things in the stride, good or bad, you just just go along with the flow, etc., which is fair. But we don't stop to celebrate smaller wins. And if you are on an entrepreneur journey, small wins are more frequent than one big thing that kind of gets you to that hockey stick path, right? So celebrating small wins is something that I've learned. Of course, reinventing, absolutely. Of course, for me in this particular venture right now with Avika, I've never sold to Indian customers. When you're working in IT services companies, majority of your customers are outside of India. It just makes financial sense like that. So I haven't sold to Indian customers effectively and that very well. And that's something that is absolutely new. Then, of course, the whole fact about you can't sit and bitch about your managers anymore. You can't do that. You can't basically say...
Actually, when you're in the seat, you empathize more with your previous employers,
correct,
your
absolutely,
managers.
Absolutely.
You empathize more. Now I feel the pain.
Yeah. You can't
I
do
wouldn't
that.
have told that.
Yeah. So why is somebody saying 6-day week is difficult? Why is Sunday a holiday is the thoughts that you would get. But you can't say it out loud. So knowing what you were dealing with as an employee, and if there is a possibility to translate that as humanly as possible to the people that you work with right now, that's a constant learning. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Nice. One important aspect is that being any professional, it's good to get that network. But when you step into this journey of founder, you need to be much better with the networking skills. Okay?
Right.
Now, how important is to have that network? And then, how are you picking up those networking skills? How are you building that network as a women entrepreneur or as an entrepreneur, founder of an organization? Because it helps a lot of professionals who would be listening to the podcast.
Right. I wasn't a big believer of networking. I did not even know networking existed for a very long time in my career. And I did not actually think it made any sense also. And I'm being very blunt about it, right? But I wouldn't be sitting here and having this conversation with you if I did not network, right? So ours was a chance meeting.
Yeah.
True. It was not planned. It was not as if, we spoke at length and we decided we would do it. It was just a chance meeting. And that happened because of a networking event that I attended. Or an outreach that I was a part of, right? So one thing that I've realized, and one thing that I would probably tell people and take it for whatever it is worth, is don't look down upon networking, but pick your battles well. There's so many things that are happening in the world around us these days that it's so much of noise. So filter that noise out, find places where you want to really go. But again, a bit of an advice, don't make an assumption that every meeting that you do, every networking event that you go to should yield in concrete results. Don't have that, set mind. Be a little more fluid. Serendipity. You just let things happen. Be open. Don't bombard your calendar with, this is one event I want to go to, that is the other event I want to go, the 5 events in a month. Please don't do it like that, because that will possibly block you from going to one activity that you probably would have benefited the most. Keep it fluid. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze. Build connections. But exactly what we were talking about a while back, building connections is just one part of it. Reaching out to them is a second aspect of it, which is what I am learning right now. We very easily tend to neglect and forget that we met so-and-so person at that point in time and kind of move on to the next one.
That happens.
Yeah.
Our focus should be majorly on what did we convert in the current meeting,
right.
Then majorly focusing on next event I'm going to do, how many business cards do I need and all that.
Yeah. So all of that is good, but just be open to the fact that a person that you met 6 months back might actually get you something that you've always been looking for. figure out a way to stay in touch with them. And if it means just putting up your WhatsApp status, or maybe, liking somebody else's WhatsApp status or a LinkedIn post. It doesn't harm. If you genuinely like something that somebody has said, express it, say it loud. Maybe people will remember you for that than the conversation that you had at that event. Everybody is looking for that, right? That sort of
so
support.
Important. So important. Appreciation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about only you're liking it because you have to like, because you'll get something out of it.
Right.
There were many scenarios where you don't appreciate others' work. It could be internally within the organization or in the network that you have built, be it networking platforms, networking events, or anything. If you can't appreciate others' work, I don't think it will come back to you.
Yeah. Paid forward is absolutely critical. See, again, there was a chance meeting that I took with some ex-colleague of mine. He actually asked me to come over for some session in the office. I ended up going there because I liked the person. I wanted to do it. It was not taking too much of time out of me. This is something that I knew I could speak and be myself. I actually went ahead and did that. That led to this conversation, right? So things happen for a reason. As long as you're following through, as long as you know that you want to make some progress with that person that you had met so many years or months or days back, and kind of continue to stay in touch, that's probably what the network effect is, not the original networking, right?
Yes.
Again, some chance conversation that I had with somebody that resulted in an article that was published in Business Line, that led to somebody else in IIT Mandi looking at us as a company. They'd actually gotten on a call with us. We are working on a project with them right now. Whether that project will go anywhere or not, I don't know. But the chance meeting with...
But something is happening.
Something is happening.
There is a moment.
Yeah. So that's the network effect. So when you go for an event, or when you try and meet somebody, or when you get a contact of somebody, and if you call them up or speak to them, be genuine. Don't try and fix a certain outcomes from that, and 3 meetings from now, 4 meetings from now, after that I will stop talking to that person. Don't have rules like that. Be a little more fluid, and things will happen because the universe has a way of conspiring. It will happen.
Absolutely. The theory works.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
Very nice. So, Sirisha, with the current scenario, okay, in 2025, thinking of this AI era, whatever buzzing is happening around this, and the kind of startups that you have built, if you have to give top 3 lessons to somebody who is looking forward to build an organization or take away something from this, what are those top 3 things that you would like to tell?
If somebody tells me what those top 3 things are, I'll be more than happy to listen. But just my opinion, be open to change. Don't be rigid. Probably the same thing. Try working with people of different opinions. Don't always look for whether it is generational, whether it is gender, whether it is whatever we call as inclusivity, right? Try and work with an inclusive team. Try and be a lot more open to change, because genuinely that's the only constant. And I personally think build a little humor in life. It is going to take you a long way. It's a long ride.
Super.
So build humor in your life in whatever manner. Yeah, those are probably the 3 things that I would say.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, lot of things from a other person's perspective, whatever we have been thinking, are we sailing in the same boat?
Right,
how things
right.
are. Like, conversation led to a lot of ideas.
Yeah,
Everything.
true. Thank you so much for asking those questions. Yeah.
Thank you. It actually opened up some more doors of thoughts.
Yeah, true.
Definitely.
Hopefully. Yeah.
So nice having you here, Sirisha.
Same here. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel MetaFolks Chat Show. This is gonna be a rocking channel going forward. We are going to have a lot of great speakers coming in here and speaking about their journey in corporate.